The last series of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're on King Sejong Station, spawning to the top left-hand corner in purple, playing Zerg for Team Hush and the United States of America. It's NoveaStar. And to the top right, to the bottom right-hand corner in teal, playing Zerg for Team Horizon Academy and Russia. It's Sunokasuri. And we have the old war going on once more. Actually, in more than one sense, since it's not only Russia against the US, Cold War all over again, but it's also the third time that Sunokasuri and Novea face each other in the FSL. They had to play against each other 2 times through Season 1, because they had, of course, their weekly match in the round-robin format. But then they also faced each other during the playoffs in the first round, because Novea, actually, I think, was rank 4 and Sunokasuri was rank 5. So they actually had to face off. And both times, actually, Sunokasuri won the game. So I think Novea wants her sweet revenge out of the Russian Zerg player. Let's see how it's going to work. Actually, the interesting thing about both players is that they tend to play the same style. Both love early Ling Baneling aggression into muta play. So we'll see how this is going to work out if both players just try to do their old tricks. And then let's see who's going to have the upper hand. Or if maybe one player just spices everything up by changing their strategy. So let's see how everything is going to work out. Suno, at least starting with the hatchery first build and then into gas into pool, while her opponent went into pool first. Also pretty common for Novea. She likes to go for some early rushes. Sunokasuri actually showed excellent Ling Baneling micro during a series against Mitsukotse on Galactic Process. I think it was actually the playoff game in round 2 after she had beaten NoveaStar in the first round. So if you want to have a look at this, there's an insane micro battle with Ling Baneling for about 20 minutes. So you really want to see that game. Go watch it. It's great. It's exciting and it's exhausting, not only for players but for me as a caster as well. So Novea already sending for the first few links already over. It seems as if she really wants to kind of go all in with a safety hatchery just in the back pocket, just in case this is not going to work out as it's supposed to be. We have 2 queens out now and a few lings already in position. Also spine crawlers. Sunokasuri, of course, due to these overlords, knows exactly what's headed away and also confirms that everything is now coming towards her with the help of that overlord. And now we will just see how it's going to work out. Like I said, Sunokasuri has already shown that she is capable of microing this sort of situation very well. So maybe let's see if Novea will be able to just crush all of her lings into, all of her banelings, either into the mineral line, which would hurt Sunokasuri pretty hard already. So 7 workers have already been killed. But of course the biggest problem is the counter push. I mean, yes, she did some considerable amount of damage. She's already morphing some banelings over here, but she hasn't done her hatchery yet. So Suno still has the big army plus the capability to, I mean, all of the queens have already died as well, right? So yeah, I mean, she has a few more lava available, but unfortunately she doesn't really have the queens in order to produce some more. So I think if Novea should actually hold that counter push, she should be pretty far ahead already with a 20 to 12 worker lead. So let's see if Sunokasuri can actually manage to kill off everything and then just overrun her with links. Or if she will just have to, well, there's no retreat actually. I mean, she can't retreat from here on out. She can't just play a normal macro game. She needs to deal at least equivalent amount of damage or even game ending. That was actually a good bailing hit, not even losing all of them. Yeah, and that is it. Like I said before, Novea unfortunately might have committed just a little bit too much. There's one spore crawler here, but links are just now raiding the main. There's no more banelings left. Novea just tries to desperately get out some links, but in the meantime I think the spore crawler will be down. Maybe she will just barely be able to hold it, and it seems as if Sunokasuri might have just dealt the damage she needed to do in order to equalize the game. So maybe, yeah, it seems as if Suno just wants to retreat. Might be, yeah, it seems both players just have now realized that the game might be on even state and they don't really want to risk anything more. So it seems as if they now want to both transition into the late game. Or the late game, we're already at 5 minutes. But yeah, like I said, I mean, there were just these two options. I mean, retreat was no option. Either Sunokasuri would just deal enough damage in order to equalize the damage that Novea dealt to her, and then both players could just play the game like normal, or she would just deal game-ending damage, and Novea would have to give up at that point in time, or she would just deal no damage at all, and then Novea would have won anyways. So, seems as if Suno still wants to use her links, doesn't really want to sit idle in her base, but instead just maybe deal some additional damage, and it might kind of work out. There's one Baneling in position, quite tucked away quite far behind. So let's see, there's also one Baneling very well positioned at the top of the ramp, so if Sunokasuri should dare to move up, this Baneling could probably hit her very hard, and Suno just realizes immediately what's going on, has just used this for a little scouting information, and has even forced Novea into thinking there might be a big push incoming, so she just has forced her to just waste some more resources into a spine crawler here, while she herself can just drone up a little more. Evolution chamber in the making, so we'll see whether well, she transitions already into a lair, so maybe she wants to go up higher, or maybe she just wants to go for the old Ling style because she assumes that her opponent will also be transitioning into mutas normally, but Novea is actually quite far behind with that. She hasn't even started her lair yet, so if it really comes down to a muta war, I think Sunokasuri should have the upper hand quite easily. I mean, the lair is almost done by 40 seconds now. Still no lair by Novea here. Don't really know where she wants to go to. Now finally taking her gas. This really looks like she wants to go into some sort of muta build later on. She doesn't have a Roach Warren at all. I think Roach Warren would have been quite nice there. But yeah, finally transitioning into a lair while Sunokasuri's is already done and there's the Spire incoming. So this doesn't look really good for Novea at all. Both players obviously wanting to go into some sort of muta build, but I mean, the mutas will be almost out when the Spire starts for Novea, and usually Sunokasuri should have no problem, especially not by with a third base already incoming, to just outproduce the mutant numbers of Novea at all. I mean, maybe Novea has already managed to get back into a game against Sunokasuri before by just fending off everything with spore crawlers and then going into infestors, maybe eventually nailing that money fungal. So maybe she might be able to come back, but like I said before, this doesn't actually look that good for Novea here. So let's have a look. I mean, more workers for Sunokasuri as well. Yeah, there it is. The Spire is almost done when the Spire of Novea starts. So wow, and Novea might be able to just get to just tear down that third base. Of course, she hasn't really seen. Oh, no, actually she has. Never mind, there it is. So she actually knows that a base is there. But I think Sunokasuri, with the help of the Banelings and a few Lings there, should easily be able to protect her third base from being torn down. In the meantime, of course, Novea just trying to take her third base as well. First few mutas are already in the production, so and that might even be the game ender already. I mean, if Sunokasuri just immediately sends her 8 mutalisks across the map in order to harass her opponent, not really taking care of that, or just taking care of that army force down here with the help of the Lings and the Banelings. Wow! Actually insane connects. Nice little cut off with the army here, just cutting off the escape path and then just crushing in all of the Banelings from the left hand side. Very well done here. And now the mutas are out. Like I said before, 8 mutas already out. I mean, this will be very problematic. Only one spore crawler down. This base should just go down immediately. I think that's just the most important goal. The most important goal of Sunokasuri here, just taking down the third base and then being one base up while having the muta advantage. I mean, this is looking so ugly here. Nice little Baneling connect over here, but it doesn't really matter at that point in time. Suno will now just crush in through this wall. I mean, the spines will actually help her with the forces down on the ground. Suno even trying to take out that spore crawler with the Lings and the Banelings. And finally, Novea managed to actually get her own mutas out and is at least safe for now because she now has the mutas. Actually, does she have as many mutas up as Suno? No, okay, 11 even for Novea and 6 for Suno. So Suno has actually been a little bit lazy a little bit lazy with reproducing a few more mutas over here. Has actually not protected her own base. Was obviously as convinced as I was that she would always have the muta lead to Novea, but now Novea actually has managed to just save up enough money in order to outproduce her opponents on Muta, and has really dealt some severe damage within the natural base, just returning and returning, taking out as many Mutas as she can, just realizing that she has the upper hand with the Mutas, and now Spore Crawlers were in position. Big blunder there by Sunokasuri, unfortunately. Still, the fact remains that Suno has her third base up, while Novea is not even trying to retake hers. Well, at least now she is, but of course very, very late. Maybe even the run-bys, yeah, will now just force the Mutas to retreat in order to save the hatchery from being torn down once more. Seems as if Suna actually doesn't want to really sacrifice them, or just wants to check for a Ninja Expo over here. And actually Novea has already realized that she's behind economically, just wants to take a risk by taking a fourth base as soon as possible. But of course that will just buy Sunokasuri some time in order to get back up in the Muta count. So yeah, actually now the Lings are not enough in order to take down the hatchery, because it has already gathered too many hit points for those few Lings to take it down. Seems as if Sunokasuri might just want to take a fourth base over here, a little bit closer to the rest of the bases, but of course pretty far forward. Don't really know, or maybe it was just a little misclick here, or she's just long distance mining because she has too many workers anyways and just wants to make the best out of them. So Muta count just growing. Same for Novea, and at the moment Sunokasuri actually has more Mutas than Novea does, but of course she can't really know about that. 6 more in the making, and then both will be even once more. So now it just comes down to finding the angle, finding a point to intrude, and of course if Suno is just waiting for too long, actually this Ninja Expo over here might just kick in, but of course she's almost taken a fourth base at the same time, so it might even out eventually and doesn't really matter that much. Still, Suno has the advantage with the upgrades. Carapace level 1 not done for Novea, while the level 1 upgrade, level 2 upgrade is already in the making for Sunokasuri here. Still, both players not really having a good chance to attack the opponent's mineral line, which is always a little bit unfortunate. I mean, the best thing you can do right now is just fly around, checking for bases, trying to take them down as long as they are unprotected, shooting down overlords, so everything you can do. But only attacking with mutas right into the other mutas and spore crawlers usually is never an option. So we'll see who is going to transition into what, and thus maybe getting a small advantage. Okay, taking down that fourth base is actually pretty huge, but maybe she'll just fly into the huge amount of mutalisks here with the support of the Lings down here, which is actually a little bit of an advantage. Oh no, it isn't. Okay, so Suno can actually just... Yeah, she has... No, the Flyer Carapace is not done yet, but will be done in just a few seconds. Actually, again, huge blow for Novea here, just losing a big chunk of her fleet, of her flock there. Okay, Muta's just coming in, helping out with the Lings and Berserklings. Novea just doesn't find any possibilities to just harass her opponent effective enough. The base is already done for Suno here, so she's also ahead in bases. Still, she's ahead in supply, she's ahead in upgrades. So unless for like a miracle fungal that is not even able, I think, because there's no infestation pit, Novea has to GG out. And Suno takes the first game. Welcome on New Gettysburg, spawning to the bottom right hand corner in purple, playing Zerk for Team Hush. It's NoveaStar. And to the bottom left in teal, playing Zerk for Horizon Academy. It's Sunokasuri. Going into gas pool first this time around, so seems as if now she wants to be actually both players just doing the other opponent's build this time around. Last time it was Novea who did the gas pool build, and this time it's Suno, while Novea is taking her hatchery first. Going to be quite interesting, so let's see how Novea handles the early aggression. So Suno already taking her second base a little bit earlier, I feel. In order to get out more lava and thus more Zerklings, which just makes the push so much more threatening, so much more threatening and frightening, which makes threatening. or something along those lines. I think it totally should be a word. So okay, let's see what's going on. What else is going on? Novea already just sending her overlords through at the right location. She knows that the bridge is, of course, the most important part to oversee, because that's where the early links should be coming. And now she actually gets the information that links are definitely headed towards her location. She already puts out her Baneling nest as soon as possible, knows that Banelings are her best answer if the opponent wants to push early on. Isn't really that scared about everything, is not really like throwing down a frantic spine crawler or something. So she's really positive that she will be able to take everything out. Even going into a very early roach one here. Hasn't she seen the... I mean, there's not even links in production. Now they finally are. It seems as if she's just missed it. I mean, the Overlord saw everything, but it seems as if Novea was not paying attention at her mini-map, and Novea has actually... Suno now has actually seen everything. Just went in, saw the Roach Warren, is just retreating with a few more links, and seems as if she just wants to prepare for the follow-up push that Novea might send at her. I mean, she's already dealt a lot of damage, killing off 3 workers for free, not losing a single Zergling. Now she finally has Zergling speed out, maybe just wants to pressure a little bit more, even produces more Zerglings, so maybe she even wants to overrun her opponent with Zerglings, which she actually could easily do, knowing that she just wants to transition into early roaches. But of course these Banelings will make this plan a little bit more difficult here. Suno just trying to bait one of the Baneling detonations out of the Ling, actually manages to do so, and in the meantime actually also got one Overlord somewhere with the help of the Queen here, and was that one that was overseeing the entrance towards the natural ramp. So even supply blocking Novea a little bit here, dealing tons of damage already. 337 to 25 resources lost. That's already a big advantage for Suno. Don't really know if I like that early third base. I mean, she knows, or she must know, that her opponent actually wants to go into some sort of early roach push. Don't really know if she can afford these resources into a third base, but maybe she's positive that she had some overmints anyways. So why not just put it into a base if you can't really do anything else with them? So let's see. I mean, Suno seems to want to transition into her usual muta build, and mutas are pretty good against roaches, don't get me wrong, if you get enough mass out before the roaches actually hit, but I don't quite know if it actually works out. I mean, Suno tried to do the same thing versus Mitsukotse, and Mitsukotse just took the advantage by just doing big timing attacks with roaches and Nidus network that always hit just before enough mutas were out, and then just tore through Sunokasuri's defenses like butter through, like a knife through hot butter, no problem whatsoever. And there the push is already coming. It's a little bit of a slow push, and Sunokasuri already knows that it's coming due to that Overlord, so she might be able to prepare in advance. This spine crawler and that one as well, unfortunately, will not be ready in time. So like I said before, Novea might be able to hit the small timing window she has before the spire is done, before the mutas get out, and even if the first few mutas are out, they still take some time in order to take down roaches. But there's still a big force of lings and banelings just surrounding most of these roaches already before they can finally group up together. Still, roaches trade insanely cost efficient against lings only, and especially with the help of some banelings as well. Ravagers now being morphed. Finally the spine crawlers are ready as well, but not many forces left for Suno. Suno just crossing fingers, waiting for the spire to arrive and then for the mutalisks to pop. But it's only one mutalisk in production. She needs to hold this off with only spine crawlers and lings, doing her best here, just driving back the forces of Novea again and again, because she doesn't really want to fight if she can't really hit these spine crawlers over here. The damage will just pile up like crazy in that meantime. Suno just sending out the Overlord a little bit, wants to be careful not to get it shot down by the Ravager Biles, although of course still Novea has to be careful when to shoot her Biles and when not, because she also needs them for attack. More roaches are streaming across the map. No, actually it's only Lings. And now finally Suno has managed to get up a few more Mutalisks, and Ravagers are just terrible against Mutalisks. I mean, yes, you can throw Biles and hope that your opponent just doesn't move the units, but under normal circumstances your Ravager Biles should never ever hit any Mutalisk whatsoever, and now Novea just doesn't have any real anti-air that would help her out, while Sunokasuri already has. So let's see, some static D over here? No, not even a Spore Crawler in the natural base, not even a Spore Crawler in the main base. So I think the harassment will be pretty terrible for Novea now here, even losing a few more Overlords. So yeah, Sunokasuri just going Overlord hunting. Don't really know how long she wants to commit. I think she suspects, or just expects her opponent to have already built Spore Crawlers, so she just wants to take the chance of taking down whatever loot she can get. And free victims here, free prey she can always take down. But yeah, if she had only known that her opponent didn't have anything inside her main base, she would have probably just flown in with all of the mutas, killing off tons of workers, or at least denying all that precious mining time. But now, for now, she just retreats, and of course her third base has now proven to be the right choice after barely holding that push with the mutas just arriving in time. So yeah, now she just has the upper hand. With the muta advantage, an opponent should actually never be able to take a third base anytime soon. You always want to be active with those mutas, just checking for third base locations, which she does anyways, and always taking down a base once it gets thrown down. And now of course she has again everything on her side. Better tech, better upgrades, better income. I mean, what more could you wish for at that point in time? The only thing might be a quicker transition into something, but you don't actually need to do it. Even shooting down more Overlords, heavy supply block, no for Novea, who just has to spend more lava, more minerals into units she actually doesn't want to produce, but just has to because she can't produce anything else. So what's the potential comeback for NoveaStar? She of course goes into Hydralisks, wants to have some reliable anti-air against the mutas, knows she can't transition into mutas herself, and yeah, like I said, this is like the base over here, should never get down. And yeah, takes it out, just forces the cancel, gets the drone as well, and just flies out, no problem whatsoever, easy peasy. So yeah, Novea of course wants to have some reliable anti-air damage. Once she might be able to fungal something, I think like the money fungal is actually the only chance to really deal with that army, or maybe hoping that Sunokasuri just does a big mistake, not really preparing for a ground-based anti-air army, so she might not even have enough on the ground in order to take this down. But of course, Hydralisks are very, very weak against Banelings. So that's usually what you want to produce as Zerg player. You just produce Mars Lings that just keep the roaches from dealing damage, and then you just crush all of your Banelings into the Hydralisks, and the mutas usually clear up the rest. So with a very big force and very well microed units, like once you manage to get the roaches in front and force the Banelings to crush into the roaches and not into the Hydralisks, you might be able to take that force, but it will be pretty difficult, especially if you just don't have the units. And there everything happened. Ooh, actually Novea, actually it's Suno just crushing a lot of those units really into the roaches, but there's still enough units left. Novea realizes this is it, GG's out, and Suno takes the game for a 2-0 lead. Here we are on the third map of this best of 5 series. It's Frozen Temple. And spawning to the top left-hand corner in purple, playing Zerg, doing the double extractor trick, it's NoveaStar. Did it right on point this time around. Spawning to the top, to the bottom right-hand corner in teal, playing Zerg as well, it's Horizon Academy's Sunokasuri. So, going for the extractor pool build once more, well, which is kind of reasonable. I mean, Frozen Temple has like the shortest rush distance after Darsan Station, so yeah, I think you really want to be safe and secure and maybe even a little bit aggressive with the extractor pool build. Going hatch first on this map is, I wouldn't say suicidal, but daring. It's something that can be defended, but can also be pretty tough to defend it. I mean, the good thing about this map is that you have a rather small entrance to your natural base, which you can actually block off with, I think, 3 buildings or maybe even 2 buildings and a spine crawler. Not quite certain. I think you might need a third. I think you need a third building, right? It's been quite some time since I walled this off as Zerg. So yeah, I think you need 3 buildings there. But it's fairly easy to wall off if need be. Once, of course, you have enough creep spread towards that part of the map. And yeah, let's see how this is going to work out. Last time it seemed to work out pretty well for Sunokasuri. She actually got a few drones for nothing there. But yeah, Novea just tried to spice it up a little bit. Maybe was a little bit too early with the Roach Horn, showing it too early, not then having the income after the first early pushes, and then just transitioning a little bit too late into the Roach play in order to really make it happen. The whole push just took a little bit too long there. So again, not really much there for Novea. She's finally spotted what her opponent is doing with the help of the Overlords and is already producing a few links, but the first 6 links are already inside. Actually just getting the first drone, will even probably just get a second one as well. So this push has already paid off quite a little bit. Ooh, even Novea just sending down few soul links here, a few lonely links that could just have been eaten away. But now Suno is just trying to take care of that. Hatch will not get it. And now finally the Queen and the Lings have arrived. So Suno has to retreat for now. But of course she already has her second base up as well. Has already dealt some early damage. The only thing she now has to be careful is a possible counter push. Doesn't Novea actually see that? Yeah, she does. So that's actually always quite interesting when players just decide to sneak their units somewhere, but then the opponent can just see them anyways. So yeah, put them in the corner. Maybe she won't see. Oh, there's an Overlord right there. What did I do? Well, it doesn't really matter. So now Novea actually knows what's up, is not really walling off, is actually, well, seems to be feeling quite comfortable with only Lings against Banelings and Lings rushing in. Spinecrawler is in the making, so if Novea buys enough time, she might have something ahead of Novea there. Okay, great Baneling micro there by Suno, not letting them die to a Soul Ling. Okay, 1 Ling dies to the Queen Fire, but the 2 Banelings are still there, still the Lings pressuring. The Spinecrawler falls. This base is mostly not really mineable. I mean, the Lings just come down, but there's no Baneling nest as well. 14 more Lings in production, so if Suno just manages to get 1 good Ling hit, this should just easily snowball for Sunokasuri here already. More Lings coming across. Suno just retreats for now. Will probably just remake a few more Banelings and then just run in again. So we have more and more Spine Crawlers. I don't really know. I mean, the problem is that Novea can't really actually wall off because she just doesn't have enough resources to do so. So she desperately just tries to produce more units, Lings and Banelings, and hopes that she will eventually be able to get that one connection that just turns the game for her. But like I said before, Sunokasuri has actually impeccable Ling Baneling micro. And yeah, just crushes into everything. All of the Lings have already died. Not many standing forces left for Novea already. It's 43 to 29 supply. The Spinecrawler dies. GG! And Sunokasuri takes it easy 3-0.